Howdy everyone, Chris here. We're back in the garage today, and today we're going to be painting this Honda SUV. We'll be painting this in a pearl white tri-stage finish. I'm going to share everything you need to know about painting a tri-stage finish. We'll be painting this quarter panel with this Harbor Freight 26-gallon compressor and the Inokraft Drizzle D1. This is a low volume, low pressure paint gun. We're going to see how well these two perform together as we paint this quarter panel. So let's dig in and get started.
Today I'll be changing it up a bit. We're not going to be using our typical Nason paint. This particular color was not available in Nason, so I picked up the base coat and the mid coat pearl at Coop's Wholesale in Tulsa. Now this paint mixes up 1-to-1 rather than 2-to-1, so it's always a good idea to check your mixing ratios on the type of paint, the brand of paint that you're using.
So here is the mid coat pearl. You see that there? It's just a translucent pearl. 50 milliliters of pearl. We'll go to 100 with the reducer. And we're ready. Snap on our lids. Lock in our collars. For the gun settings, we're going to set this air pressure at 19 psi. We might dial that back a little bit. That seems about right though. The fluid volume, we're going to do 2.5 turns. And then the fan pattern is wide open. Lock it in. So we've already washed this with isopropyl alcohol. We used some wax and grease remover on it and we cleaned it perfectly. Now I'm just going to cover the primer first with the first coat, and then we'll let this flash off for about 10 minutes and then we'll apply a second coat. It should take 2 to 3 coats to get that covered with the base white. And I'm not going to pull the trigger all the way. That's all we're going to do on the first coat. Let's get that a little bit. We'll let that sit. That's it. I didn't pull the trigger all the way. See how it's a little bit, I put it on a little bit wet. You see those two little fish eyes there? That's because I put it on just a little bit too wet. So it's always good to put your first coat on a little drier, because that can happen if you put it on too wet. You get a couple little, it's just a little fish eyes right there. Now those won't be a problem because those will cover right up. If you get too many or if they're too deep, then you might have to sand those out. Put a second coat on here. Remember, I want to keep it, I don't want to get out in here. I want to keep it right in here. Might have to do one more coat and then we'll put the pearl on. You can still see it looks a little transparent still. We'll get a light on this, but we're going to put one more coat on this, over this. Nice. I'm just going to blend this out just a little bit. So for this, I'm just going to move back. I'm just going to move back a few inches and do a drop coat. Just going to rinse this out. We're going to use this gun for the mid coat and the clear coat as well. Lock in the pearl. Okay, we got the pearl already. We're going to spray our coat of pearl here. We're going to do 2 coats of pearl. Let's put our pearl on. There's 1 coat of pearl. I already put 1 on this. I'm sorry, the camera wasn't on. So we're going to let this flash off. And I blend it out to about here, okay? We'll put another coat on and this will be ready for some clear coat.
So typically when you blend your mid coat pearl, you want to blend it about 3 to 4 inches past where you finished your base coat. Now remember, overspray from your base coat goes farther than you think. So you want to make sure you're well past that base coat. With this particular job, it's a little bit tricky because we don't have a lot of room before that door. This is kind of a really small blend area we've got here, so you got to be careful that you don't get too crazy with it. But to be honest with you, tri-stage pearl is really not that difficult to spray. Here I'll just finish up my second coat of pearl, and then immediately after that I'm going to move back a little bit and you can see that I'm doing my drop coat of pearl.
We're going to clean this gun real quick, rinse it out. Go down through with the pipe cleaner, rinse it out till it comes out clear. Now with clear coat, we're going to use the FC710. This is a spot panel clear made by Sherwin-Williams. Real good clear coat, and it's priced right around $100 for the kit. That's the clear coat and the activator. We're going to use a slow activator. So this clear coat mixes up 4 to 1. That's 4 parts clear, 1 part activator. I'll show you how we mix it. The Sagola Series 1 PPS system. To find the 4 to 1 mixing ratio right here, we'll put the amount of clear we want. We're going to go 4 parts, and then we'll go to the 1 ratio and we'll add our activator. So we'll fill it up to the 4, the coordinating 4 with activator. So that's our 1 part. There's our 4 parts. Simple as that, guys. These also have a micron filter in them. Filter out any trash. Now we've got our activator here. And there's our 1 part of activator. Let's see how this Inokraft Drizzle D1 lays down the clear coat with this small compressor. That small compressor came in handy. A big compressor actually went down, and while I was waiting on a part, we went ahead and used that small compressor on a couple little projects. Okay, so we've got our Inokraft Drizzle D1. We're going to lay down the clear coat. As far as the fluid volume, we got 2.5 turns out from close. We closed it all the way, opened it up 2.5 turns. We've got a wide fan pattern, so this is opened up all the way. The air pressure I'm going to set at 28 psi, 27, 28 psi. We're going to lay down our first coat of clear. Now, when you lay down your first coat of clear, you want to make sure you have a consistent speed, a consistent distance from the panel. You want to make sure you're overlapping your previous pass by 75%, somewhere right around there. This is going to give you a consistent finish in your clear coat. Now, you don't want to be concerned, or you don't have to be concerned about making the first coat perfect. If it's imperfect, it's got a couple little dry areas, not a concern, because we're going to put a second coat on, and that's what we call the money coat. That's where you want to make it perfect, okay? So the other thing, use your first coat to kind of dial in your gun. If you're not getting it how you want it, you need to make some adjustments on your air pressure and your fluid volume, use that first coat to dial it in. You can make those adjustments there, and then you can come back with a second coat and slick it out. Remember, your fluid volume and your air pressure are what's going to atomize that clear coat. You want to finely atomize clear coat. So let's go ahead and lay this first coat on. Right there.
So I want you to notice the amount of overspray that this low volume, low pressure paint gun is producing. It's very little comparing to a conventional gun, an HVLP, or even an MP. The amount of overspray is very low. That's one of the benefits you get with these low volume, low pressure paint guns. I really feel like these guns are perfect for the DIYer, the guy that's working out of his garage at home. If you're just starting out in automotive painting, this is the gun to get. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to save in materials. It's going to produce less overspray. So if you're working at home or out of your garage, it's perfect. And it's going to consume less air from your air compressor.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm overlapping my passes here.
If you're new to the channel, this Inokraft Drizzle D1 runs right around $100, but you get 3 needle sets with it. So you get a 1.3, you get a 1.5, and you get a 1.7. So that allows you to change the tips, and you can spray high build primer or epoxy primer or something of that nature. You also get a regulator and a PPS adapter. So you get a Series 1 PPS adapter with this. So it's really a good bargain for $100.
See, we got some dry spray here, but that's okay. But it's a nice finish, nice uniform clear. Got a particle of dust there. We'll get that corrected. For the most part, it looks good. Looks like a first coat should. Okay, we're ready for the second coat of clear. Now the second coat of clear, we're just going to slow down just a tad, hit it a little bit harder, put more material on the panel, and slick it out. So let's lay down some clear. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit.
I will leave a link to this Inokraft Drizzle D1 down in the description. You can pick it up on Amazon. There are similar guns to this. They're actually the same guns, but they're rebranded, like the YT160 and the AeroPro A610. I think the combination of this low volume, low pressure paint gun and this Harbor Freight compressor is perfect for the DIYer. The Harbor Freight compressor is working perfectly for what we're doing here. Now I think you could get by with painting the whole side of this vehicle, have no issues. You probably want to have some kind of water filtration system, some kind of dryer, because you may get some moisture if it's consistently running. All I have on this right now is a ball filter on the end of my gun, and I'm not getting any moisture, but we're only painting one panel basically.
Oh baby, let's see down here. Usually down low is where you're going to get dry usually. That looks good though. All right, let's hit this. Now you don't have to slow down. You can get a little bit closer and you can actually spray fast. So depending on how you like to spray, you can adjust how much material is landing on the panel by your speed and your distance, and then of course your fluid volume and your air pressure.
Check it out. You can now help support the channel and look good doing it by picking up some Garage Noise Gear merch at GarageNoiseGear.com. And at this point right here is where I hit it too hard and picked up a run. Ugh. So other than a couple little mishaps like this string that's in my bumper cover and that run, it came out beautiful. The Harbor Freight compressor and this low volume, low pressure paint gun worked really well together. I think this is the perfect setup for a DIYer. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you watching. Let's take a look at the quarter panel and see how the blend came out.
Not perfect amount of orange peel on this. Couple little particles of dust will stand out. One bad one right there. Look at the transition, the blend, all looks good.